Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and it's time for our weekly Mailbag episode of the show, where we answer your questions over from, send them to us on Instagram.com/fantasyfootballprofit, email us fantasyfootballprofit@gmail.com, youtube.com/fantasyfootballprofit. You can ask questions there. Wherever you ask them, we'll pull them together and go on the Wednesday episode of the show. So we're going to jump into this thing. We got start sit to start the thing off. Kasprowski, it's a wide receiver question. And to start off here, 3 receivers. Who are we going with? T.Y. Hilton, T. Higgins, Tim Patrick. So off the top of your head, without even seeing matchups or knowing anything, what are you leaning here?
They're very even. I'll tell you that. So matchups is going to play a huge one in this. In my mind, immediately I go, okay, if T.Y. Hilton is healthy, he has some upside because he had one good game, and it feels like they're going to try to go to him. Other than that, right now, the way it's working out, Tim Patrick has been very steady, where the amount of yardage has been more than T. Higgins, but I do think that T. Higgins, depending who they're playing, might have a higher touchdown potential. So it's kind of a round robin in my mind.
So T. Higgins would probably be my pick. T. Higgins is playing at Baltimore. Tim Patrick is playing at Cleveland. And T.Y., if he plays, we'll see. He's playing at San Francisco. So they're all on the road against, I would say, decent opponents, all 3 of them. So I'm probably just going to go Higgins. I know he's been slightly disappointing to me how good he should be, but I'm still going to go Higgins here.
Yeah, I like that one. I think they're so close. I do think I like T. Higgins generally more than the other guys. So I think they're so close. You might as well go for that.
Yep. Tim Patrick, though, he seems like he's going to get a touchdown. He seems to do that almost every time.
What, three out of 6 games he's caught a touchdown.
Yeah, he used to get that touchdown.
I feel like I don't know. I don't really know how that offense is going to fare. Like it seems right now, ever since Judy went down, it does seem like Tim Patrick has been a little more in the game plan. Not a ton, still a lot more.
Yep. Judy, he probably won't be back this week. They haven't ruled him out yet, but most likely he'll be back for the next game after that. So that'll be
that will be really interesting. If he comes back healthy, that could be a huge upgrade for a lot of teams.
Yep. All right. Next up here, Bretty Spaghetti says, would you start Brandon Ayuk, T.Y. Hilton, or would you wait until Monday night and see if Alex Collins plays, who's a little banged up right now? Ayuk, T.Y. Hilton, or wait till Monday? I don't know if you can. I think that's a rough one, especially if it's only Alex Collins that you're waiting on. I know this is actually a little tough because Ayuk has been, definitely struggling, hasn't played great. T.Y. Hilton, obviously, we don't know his health. Collins, we don't know his health. Man, that's a tough one. I probably go pick up whoever, if it's going to be DJ Dallas, if it's going to be Rashad Penny, I might go pick up that guy and wait and just hope Alex Collins plays. And if not, go with it, because I don't know if I trust the other 2 right now.
I like that too. If you're able to get a backup and you know that you're going to have someone to play no matter what, I definitely would go Collins.
If you're not, I'm probably going Ayuk.
Okay, honestly. If you can't do that, you just throw in Ayuk and call it good.
Yeah.
I think that's about safe. I think you just need a body in that spot more than anything.
Yep.
But I like your initial one is, I think, the correct way to attempt to play it this week.
If you can do that. All right, next up, Brother Coffee Bean. He needs us to pick a quarterback for this week. It's Daniel Jones versus Carolina or Teddy Bridgewater at Cleveland. I know Daniel Jones was terrible last week, but matchup-wise here, I got to go Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Bridgewater wasn't good either, so.
No. I think oh man. That's so dangerous. Actually, no, I lied. I think I gotta go Bridgewater. And because I think he's going to throw more. Daniel Jones scares me so much just because he's had 2 really bad games, and I realized that he got injured. He got a concussion in one of them, so he had no shot at it. But I haven't seen him come back and play well since then, and that just really scares me a lot. I think that might end up being a tougher one because maybe it's a closer game. You try to run it a little more. I think Bridgewater will have to throw more, and I'll throw my lot in with that. Like, I'm gonna go pure bulk. So I would go Bridgewater.
All right. Final start sit question for today. Joey Abs. Start 2 of these 3 players in PPR. Myles Gaskin, Michael Carter, or JD McKissick.
Okay. First of all, I would go McKissick.
Especially if Gibson is banged up. He's giving me plays. He's banged up.
I think he's banged up. All 3 of these guys I'm not a huge fan of. So I think McKissick I like the most at the moment. First of all, Gaskin, I cannot trust him. But how do you feel about Carter? I guess that's what it comes down to.
I think we know at this point Michael Carter is probably he's the lead back in New York in the Jets. That's not saying a lot.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
But he is. You know what I mean? It doesn't say much, but that's what he is. He is the lead back there. And because of that, I am going Michael Carter. Myles Gaskin, you shouldn't even be on your team because you should have listened to us and you shouldn't have drafted him. So I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you. You should have listened, put him to the bench. He doesn't deserve to play.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Michael Carter has, even though, he's touchdown dependent.
He is touchdown dependent. Yes.
Kind of like Gaskin.
I'm just waiting for the Michael Carter breakout.
I agree with you. I think Michael Carter is a little more of a safe pick, if you can call it that. Yeah, I like Michael Carter and McKissick. Yeah.
All right. So got some trade questions. Brady Spaghetti's back. Would you trade Michael Pittman for Dallas Goedert now that Zach Ertz is gone? Here's the rest of his roster. Some of his wide receivers that he would trade Pittman away, but he has Calvin Ridley, he has CeeDee Lamb, he has DJ Moore. He has Kadarius Toney, but it looks like Tony's going to miss a few weeks. He also has Ayuk and T.Y. Hilton along with Pittman. Yeah. So he has a lot of receivers, right? But he has Mike Gesicki. I don't know. I'd play Gesicki over Goddard right now. Do you think it's going to make? Do you think? Okay, honestly, maybe I'm wrong. How much of a difference do you think it's going to make? Yeah, how much of a difference do you think it's going to make with Goddard, with Ertz gone? You think? You know what? It's probably. I'm going to think about this.
I don't think it makes a ton of difference, to be quite honest.
Gesicki's been rolling right now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But I think that can disappear though. I kind of worry about that. Yeah, I do feel like you'll end up with this. Who do I end up playing?
I just don't know if you need to.
Will Pittman be in your lineup? I mean, that's really what the question is. So, let's look at Gesicki real quick. Yeah, he doesn't have his bye until week 14. You have Atlanta, Buffalo, Houston, Baltimore, New York Giants, Carolina, New York Giants again, and then bye, and then New York Jets after that. You do have a lot of good matchups for him.
I don't think you need to make that move.
I don't think you need to. No, I don't think a lot changes from Goddard. I still like Goddard in general, but there's more to do. But I still worry about him because I just don't know what that offense is with Hurts, right? Ertz leaving is not a big deal. Like, I know that is newsworthy, and it might be a bigger deal for getting Ertz, or if you already had him because he's going to Cardinals, and let's wait and see what he does because that's a high-powered offense. Goddard was the number 1 tight end there, and he was hurt when Ertz did anything really. So I don't think it changes a whole lot. I think you're right. If you think Pittman will turn into your 3rd wide receiver and that you can play, or maybe he's going to have another good game during the bye week situation. I don't think you have to pull that trigger right away. I think you could probably hold on.
All right. Berlin asks, would you trade Michael Carter and Michael Pittman for AJ Brown?
Yeah, I would.
I'd do that. AJ Brown, this is the perfect time to get in buy low, right?
I wouldn't think twice about that one. I don't think either of those guys are.
Well, and he actually looked pretty good in the second half last night. So,
eventually you will have to pass the ball eventually.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of injuries. So I do think Tannehill and AJ Brown and eventually Julio will all get on the same page.
Yep.
I think it'll be a good second half for him.
Jared asks, would you trade Robert Woods and Dalvin Cook for Alvin Kamara? He says, I'm tired of Cook being hurt all the time, and I'd still have Diggs, Jamar Chase, Hollywood Brown, Marvin Jones, Michael Thomas a few weeks. No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. I totally understand where your annoyance is coming from. I'm there too. I have Dalvin Cook, but he just played last week and he was freaking amazing. He was great, and every carry is going to go to him when he's healthy. There's very few people that are better than him in football in general. I understand trying to get Kamara. He is definitely a little bit safer. He's been doing very well as also. But the 2-for-1 thing, I'm kind of out on that. I would hold tight. It sounds like you have a really good team. Overall, I would rather have Dalvin Cook than Kamara. I know that's a rough one, but if they're both going to play in a game when it comes playoff time, that's kind of where I want to be, especially if you have a good team.
All right, so this is an interesting one. Peyton McDonald asked, it's a super flex league. So super flex league. Mm-hmm. Would you trade Aaron Jones for Saquon Barkley and Derek Carr? His quarterbacks right now are Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford. So he has Wilson gone for a few weeks. Saquon, though, is injured. I'm trying to see if there's the latest update, and there really isn't, right? We don't know how long, it's probably a couple weeks yet.
I'm telling you, I don't want to keep harping on this, but I feel like my doomsday prediction is starting to look pretty darn good. I do really, really worry about Saquon because, Daniel Jones is concussed. They've been looking worse and worse. You have Tony. You have a couple of young guys that you want to make sure can play, but they're not playing for anything. Why in the world would you subject your star running back to any more damage than he has to? I get really worried about it. Before I go, so is Derek Carr and Saquon, who is he giving up?
Aaron Jones.
And
I know it's super flex and Russ is hurt. I don't know if you have anybody else. That's what throws a wrench in it. But even in super flex, I don't want to do it.
Well, I really do wonder who is left.
I know. I want to see these other quarterbacks.
Yeah,
hit us up.
Hit us up. If there's quarterbacks you can stream, then I would say no. If there's not,
if there's literally any quarterbacks you can stream, any quarterbacks
in a dire position, and it all depends on how solid is the rest of your team. It really does. Because right now I would steer away from that because I don't. Saquon when he's healthy is unbelievable, but I have a lot of doubt about that. So if you can go in a different direction, I would. I just don't like it. Giving up Aaron Jones, which seems like a pretty guaranteed guy.
I say if you can start literally any other starting quarterback in the NFL, I wouldn't do it. If you have anybody else, I just wouldn't do it. Yeah. All right. Charlie asked he has 3 different trade questions asking us if we would do any of these deals. Would you trade Robert Woods for Damien Harris?
I wouldn't be against it. And if you need a running back and you already have at least 2 really strong wide receivers where you only have to maybe stream one or whatever, I wouldn't be against that. Damien Harris is going to be very up and down. Same way I view Robert Woods. I think running back is a little harder to come by. So that's why I would say I would probably lean towards sure. If that's what you need, absolutely go for it.
Yep. I would say that's a complete roster dependent question. If you need that running back, I'm fine with that trade. He says another deal he could do you could trade Jacoby Myers and get Damian Williams. He already has Khalil Herbert, so he would get the other back as well. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. Roster dependent, really, right? I'm fine with that.
I don't think Jacoby Myers. I don't think any wide receiver on the pass is going to be really worth their salt going forward. Every once in a while he'll have a big game, but no, I'm totally fine with that.
And the final one was, so this is like basically for a 1-week deal almost, but would you trade Jacoby Myers for Dearness Johnson, who's going to be starting for Cleveland? And I would. If you need the back this week, I'm doing it.
That's how much. I mean, nothing against Jacoby Myers, but once again, they're very light in the receiving numbers kind of team, and he's not going to be useful that often. So if you can get him for, even if it is just for a week, I would do it.
All right. Heat R6 says, who's the best running back to pick up on the waiver wire? So right now, like I said, it would be Dearness Johnson if you're able to, if you need it for 1 week. I mean, pretty much at all. There's not many other options, but Dearness Johnson, he's going to probably start for Cleveland this week. I think it's Thursday night, but he's the one. He's about the only one for me to pick up, Dearness Johnson.
Yeah, if you heard our waiver episode, you know that
there's not much else, right?
It's pretty thin. So I think he's
unless Khalil Herbert wasn't picked up in your league last week. That's about, that's the only other way, which most likely he was, but you never quite know. But all right, here we go. We're going to end the show with Brother Coffee Bean. He says he's just acquired Michael Thomas and Darrell Henderson in some trades. He also, so his wide receiver is pretty wide receiver heavy now. He has Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Chase Claypool, Michael Thomas, Jerry Jeudy, and D. Eskridge. His starting running backs are Antonio Gibson and Darrell Henderson. His backups haven't really performed consistently for him. They're Jamal Williams and Latavius Murray. He has Edwards-Helaire. He's out, obviously. We don't know how long. Quarterbacks, Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. He also now has Zach Ertz. So he's asking, what should we do? What should he do now with Zach Ertz? He's been traded to the Cardinals. Should I keep him and use him, or should I try to trade him? I would say keep him and use him. It's a great offense. We don't know how it's going to play out yet. Let's see.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on where you're going to get from him.
Yeah. Just
if it's anyone that's mediocre, you're probably not going to start him. No, wait.
Yep. Yeah. So keep him. And then, so final thing to start off, we talked about all his team. We can see it's a little wide receiver heavy, right? It's definitely wide receiver heavy. Running backs a little worse. He says, what are his trade options for running backs? So essentially, would you trade one of these receivers? Like, so Devontae, I'm not trading Devontae. I'm just not doing that. That's just not a chance. Julio's been in and out, and who knows? So Julio, Claypool, Michael Thomas will come back. Jerry Jeudy will come back. So you have some good receivers, but you have injury concerns as well there. So I don't think you can truly make a move right now. I don't think you can do it at wide receiver. I mean, who are you going to deal? You might need all those guys right now. Julio kind of injured. Michael Thomas obviously injured. Jerry Judy's not back yet. Devontae Adams and Claypool, you need them. You can't trade them.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. And also, I don't know if those names at the moment, because they've been injured, like Julio, which normally would,
right.
I think Adams might be the only guy that you can get a legit running back from.
Right.
And right now you just can't really get rid of him because of your team.
So I think what you do is you just hang tight. You wait till you get healthy, and then you try to package a couple of receivers together when they're healthy. Because all of a sudden, maybe you have Adams, and maybe you have a healthy Michael Thomas who's playing well, and a healthy Jerry Jeudy who's playing well, and then you package a Claypool and Julio together.
I think for that team especially, I wait until the height of anticipation, right? So like Michael Thomas,
right?
You desperately need running back help, right? You're going to need running back help. You need to move some guys around. You can play the game of like, will they, won't they? But right now, I think Michael Thomas is a great one. Leading up to it, that will be a name, and they'll be like, okay, he's about to play next week. People will start getting excited. You put him with one other guy that's been doing pretty decent, or say like Julio has one good game or something. You package those two, or him and whoever, X player, and say, all right, now I want this RB2. I think that would be the play. And if you get burned by it, you get burned by it. But I don't think with the Saints offense right now, I don't think you really want to wait, because I think that is going to be a very up and down relationship with Michael Thomas. Maybe he turns into the old one, but I think that would be your best bet, because he's still going to have a lot of excitement. I would use that against whoever you're trying to trade with. And you don't have to go for a specific guy. So I would just throw that out to 4 different teams and say, first one to come to me can get it.
Right.
Kind of deal.
But all right, there we go. That's the mailbag for today. We'll be back tomorrow with some more. Get you ready for week 7. Talk to you then.